cool. So let's start. So to give you an introduction, I am Rijwal, part of the product team here at ZoopSign. And uh, so the topic for today is Digital Contract Management 101. And before we jump into the exciting content, I want to let you know about a couple of things to make the most of this session. So, first of all, we have a dedicated Q&A session. So feel free to fire away any questions that you have in the chat throughout the session. The second thing is that we'll be sending a recording of this webinar along with some additional resources to your email within the next 2 to 3 days. And the third is very important. Please use the chat box responsibly. If any misuse is seen, the host may remove you from the session. So let's begin. Next slide, please. Yeah. So first, I will introduce our host for today. I'm very excited to introduce our speaker, Harsh Surana. Harsh is a IIT Kharagpur graduate from the class of 2014 with over 5 years of experience in both startup and multinational corporations. He co-founded ZoopSign around 3 years ago, and Harsh's passion for innovation drives him to work closely with regulators and customers to digitalize their processes and enhance their performance. His deep understanding of technology and business operations make him the perfect guide for today's webinar. Along with Harsh, we'll be having Aryan Khemka, the product success manager here at ZoopSign, walking us through this dashboard. Harsh, thank you for being here. Could you shed some light on why ZoopSign?
Hi everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Perfect. Great, Rijwala. I think thanks for the introduction. Really appreciate it. Basically coming to why ZoopSign, I think one of the core thing that we have been doing or I have been doing as an individual is trying to help businesses. Either it be when I was a consultant at a MNC or I was running another startup, was to help businesses to do something better, to increase the efficiency. And I think one thing that when I started digging into what we can do for the Indian ecosystem, one thing that I realized is that a lot of businesses and individuals in India are still using paper-based processes. Right now, I know there has been an evolution in COVID, right? And they say that, hey, we are not doing pen and paper anymore. But I think there's a long way when we think of a global standard to meet. And I think ZoopSign is an apt uh, place to sort of build a solution that can impact individuals and businesses when it comes to document management.
Right. Yeah. And what exactly are you trying to achieve from this webinar?
Oh, sure, definitely. So I think we started ZoopSign around 2 years ago, and there has been a lot of queries in terms of, what is e-signature, what is digital contract management, how can we change the ecosystem, how can we do a lot of things, right? So at ZoopSign, we took this initiative to give that knowledge, pass that knowledge to the community, sort of help businesses, help individuals to understand. So as you already know that I do a lot of sessions with a lot of businesses, I think the webinar is a way for me to connect to the masses, try to at least give them the basic. And as you will see from the name, right, we are calling it Digital Contract Management 101. So it's basically one of many things that are going to come in the pipeline. We are going to extensively talk about a lot of features and innovation happening here. I think today's particular session is to basically tell people and make them aware about few terminologies, few things they might hear in day-to-day life. But yeah, this is the start of a long journey where we want to impart that knowledge to the Indian ecosystem and definitely global, to be very honest.
That's fantastic, Harsh. Before we get started, I would like to outline what we'll be covering today. So here's a sneak peek at what we'll cover in our session. First, we'll introduce our company, ZoopSign. It will be an overview. Then we'll dive into the problems with manual paperwork, why the need to talk about the digitalization of contract management and things like that. Then we'll talk about the solution. We'll introduce you to the solution, that is starting digital document journey. We'll give you a tour of our dashboard and talk about eSign. What exactly is eSign, the benefits of using eSign, whether it's legal, what documents can't be e-signed, things like that. We'll also share some real world case studies to show you the difference eSign can make. After that, we'll have a Q&A session. This is your chance to ask any questions you have about the digital contract management. Stay with us until the end for exciting surprises. There'll be some freebies and certificates of participation. Make sure to stay tuned. We'll be also having live polls, so interact and keep the session lively. So over to you, Harsh.
Sure, Ritual. Ritual, I think I just experienced internet fluctuation. So if you guys are able to hear me continuously, that's great. But if you see any fluctuation, do let me know. I'll go ahead and switch off my video so that maybe we can optimizely use the bandwidth.
Okay, Harsh, I'll let you know.
Hi everyone. First of all, thanks a lot for joining this session on a Saturday. We really appreciate and we will ensure that we value the time that you're spending with us. As Rijal already mentioned the outline of the things that we are going to talk today, I'll just get started. I start with a company overview just so that you understand what all things we do as a company. But I think a lot of focus of today will be around what is digital contract management, what is document management, and today we'll be sort of extensively talking about digital signature, electronic signature, e-signature, Aadhaar signature, document signers, and things like that. Definitely keep the chat active. I think there is a good set of people who are working at the back end to help you guys with all the answers. So they will be always on their toes to answer the questions that you have. And at the end of the day, definitely, we will be also happy to hear you out. So we'll unmute you guys. We can have one-on-one questionnaires, unlike other webinars. So the idea was always to keep it engaging so that you get the most out of this webinar. Without further ado, let me just get started. So ZoopSign, but basically is a product of a company known as Zoop.one. Zoop.one has been founded in later 2016 and has been operational in early 2017. From 2017, we have came a long way, right? We are helping mammoths, startups, banks across the ecosystem to digitalize their journey. The journey digitalization happens when it comes to the consumer onboarding, consumer data verification, fraud detection, and a lot of advanced technology that we have built around the ecosystem. The Zoop.one's reach for a better happening in the journey if we can optimize it for the betterment. To give a quick walkthrough, currently, as you can see, we cater to almost 300 plus clients. We perform almost 1 million transactions per day. That's the volume that we operate in today. And we have solutions that ranges from identity to businesses to assets to document and a lot of things. Today's entire webinar will be very specific to ZoopSign. ZoopSign is basically one of our platform which helps in the document management ecosystem for businesses. ZoopSign can definitely be used by individuals who are looking to start their own small firms or who want to be consultants and people like that. So stay tuned if you are any one of them. Hope it is super helpful for you guys. Just as I was mentioning a lot of name, I wanted to solve that we are supporting. It includes people from PhonePe, GoDigit, ShareChat, IFCO Tokyo, Big Basket, and all. So one thing that you will realize is that even though you will see a lot of names that are associated to the fintech market of India, we do cater to people like Magic Pen and IFCO Tokyo, and we also cater to law firms and distribution channels around the ecosystem. Because if we think from that purview, every business at every point of time is interacting with another individual or a business, right? So I think those things can be super useful for entire ecosystem, right? I've already mentioned this, so I will just move ahead to the next slide, right? So why are we talking today, right? We have gathered today to sort of talk about why and what is digital contract management. What is digital document management? I hope this is one of the alignment that is there for most of the people. Do let me know Uh, do let me know if there is anything else you would want to be covered when I talk about the problems of digitalization of documents. Just I will take 10 seconds, wait for you to ping on the chat, and I will ensure that we can cover it during this session today. Sure. Thank you, Ashish, for the question. I think definitely this is one thing that we can answer. Uh, we will definitely cover it um, in the presentation today, right? So let's talk very quickly about what is a contract and what do we mean by a contract management flow, right? Typically, when we talk about a contract management flow, we are talking about a lot of stages that comes into picture. The first and foremost stage for a contract is to be created. Currently, the contracts in the business can be created by lawyers that are there. For small startups, they sort of pick up the templates that are available, or they do the consulting for a third party law firm to get those contracts drafted. After drafting that contract, the contracts needs to be internally discussed with a lot of team members to understand whether we are covering all the business cases, whether we are talking about all the possible edge cases that might be there. We are aligned with our creation of the contract goes to the next party, the party who is supposed to sign the contract. Then they read the contract. They sort of understand whether the contract is in alignment with all the business talks that have happened. That stage is known as negotiation. Then comes a very crucial part, signing, right? Signing fundamentally means a affirmation that both the parties have ensured that they will abide by the things that are present in the contract. They are also legally bound after signing to sort of abide by what are the discussions that are happening, or what are the terms that have been used in the contract. Once you send something for signing, I think that's when a lot of people think that the journey has ended, things like that. However, the journey has not ended when you send it for signing. I think a lot of the journey has even started from that perspective. The visibility of whether the document is signed, whether the document has been signed by the right person. The document was, let's say, supposed to be signed by Harsh, but is the Harsh who is signing the document? Do we have those analogies? Do we have the understanding that who is looking at the document? Where is my document currently? I think those are very important questions to be answered. And that comes into track and report. Let's say that you have tracked the document, you have ensured that the document has been signed successfully. Then comes the concept of store and manage. We'll talk in depth, but we'll realize that contract is only viable if you have the copy of the contract with you, right? So let's say you signed a very important contract, but somehow it was misplaced, or somehow it was damaged by the physical nature of the contract. So how can we do it better? And what are the challenges that are associated to the physical document management? Many people have started telling me that Harsh, post COVID, we don't do these couriers, we don't do the physical signing, and they sort of talk about the flow that I'm showing you currently. They say that generally there's a POC. These POCs approve the contract that is to be signed. We email the contract, we print the contract. So let's say the other party prints the contract, they sign the contract, scans it, sends it to the POC. The POC verifies every details. He ensures that all the signatures are done in the right place. Printing ke baad, none of the papers are missed. Let's say on page number 3, there were supposed to be 2 signs. So is all the things are done or not? Then it goes to something known as the approval flow, right? That which is the final verification. Once the approval is verified, they keep it into the safe. Now, the safekeeping can happen in 2 ways. Either they print the entire document to keep it with them, or the original document is again couriered by the individual, right? This entire process at an average can take anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks. And you will be surprised that why it is happening like this, even if the negotiation is done. I think that's a human nature of it, right? Not everybody has a printer handy. Not everybody has a scanner handy. Not every time you signing a contract is not off top of your mind. There needs to be a continuous reminder by the agent. They need to keep following up. And time and again, people miss on signing on a crucial paper. If I think about a smaller contract, which is like an offer letter or a lease agreement, it might be 2, 3 pages. But when we talk about a very complicated agreements, things becomes very, very interesting. So The idea is very simple. The idea is that how we can ensure that we can reduce this delay, we can be compliant with the process, and we can ensure and tackle all the problems. Just to give you some of the factual numbers that are around, right? And to ensure that you understand that you are not the only business suffering from it, latest studies has shown that digital contract management can save up to 60% of the cost. That means printing, courier, scanning, and all the cost that was associated for the agent to follow up for signing it accounts to more than 60% of the transaction. So if you would have done everything digitally, it would have saved nearly 60% of the company cost. And I'm talking it from the Indian purview. Globally, the number is actually higher and the quantum is way more higher than you can imagine. Time, right? I think important everybody here has a very important mindset that people should be utilizing their time very, very effectively, right? If I am in a business of consulting, if I am a business of supply chain management, my focus should be to optimize the supply chain, not to ensure that where did I keep that particular receipt, where did I keep that particular invoice, was that particular document signed at that place, hey, can you please find that document. The study shows that nearly 75% of the time who are very specifically looking up to these operational processes goes simply into document management. Let me also restate, right? It's not only the time that you are wasting as a business owner, it's also their motivation that's hampered, right? Think about a person who is coming to the office for good 8 hours and nearly 5 to 6 hours of their day, all they are doing is basically document management. This is very, very crucial. And you can see the importance of it because even PwC decided to sort of get this number out that 8% of the document that are signed from the contract perspective are getting lost. Now, this 8% might look smaller in the quantum, but think from that perspective that if you have 100 clients and the contract of 8 goes out, you are in a very serious compliance issue. Any auditor that is regulating your particular set of business, either it be IRDA for insurance or it be FASI for basically products, they will treat you as non-compliant. And everybody knows what happens when you go non-compliant. I think Paytm has sort of became the benchmark of India market today. But I think we don't want to do that. We always want to ensure that at least our business is not suffered due to incompliance of the ecosystem. Data breach, right? You can tell everything that the particular piece of document has been kept at a particular place in a particular drawer or something like that. But today or tomorrow, people will have some type of access to it, right? So how do you ensure that you can create layers on the data security to ensure that your data and contracts are always safe? Just to reiterate, these are few major challenges what we have heard from businesses. They do not limit to these challenges, but we would wanted to sort of prioritize this. Slow and paper-based, we have extensively talked about it. Compliance challenges, right? We have talked about it. Security risk, loose, theft, tampering. I've heard a lot of business telling me that during COVID, we locked down our offices for an year. When we went back, few of the contracts were damaged. They had to do the entire set of first identifying what all contracts have been damaged. Second, finding the right POC from the other party to check whether do they have a alternate copy handy. Three, if not, they had to on priority sign the agreement to ensure business continuity. I think these things coming to day-to-day business can impact the revenue significantly. Limit geographical reach, right? Today, when we operate in this global market, we want to ensure that we have customers from international places. Currently, ZoopSign even cater to at least 10 plus international clients, right? Because their regulation and compliance are starting to be neutral across the geographies. And you can use the digital technology to ensure that everything is taken care of from a digital purview. Inconvenient for the customers. Don't get me started. When was the last time you enjoyed printing a piece of document and signing it? When was the last time you enjoyed an agent coming to you and saying that, hey, can I have your signature on these 40 documents? Today, we live in a world where we have a loan approved before we think about the loan. No customer want to go into the hassle of signing the documents physically again and again. Lastly, and most importantly, time and resource, right? If you believe in the philosophy of time is money, then you're losing money. If you believe in the philosophy that if there are 8 hours in the day, but I can do way more, then you're losing the time and resource there. So I think these are the very high level challenges that we have seen. You might have a poll in front of you. Why don't you go ahead and sort of give us an answer? What do you feel is the most complicated challenge when it comes to the physical document management? We'll keep the poll up for nearly 1 minute. I think few participants are still thinking which one should they choose because only one is allowed. Great. So thanks everybody for joining the poll. I think I'm not sure if you guys can see the result, but I will just speak up for everybody. I think nearly 35% of the audience feels that the current process of paper-based is slow and tedious. Nearly 30% of them feel that it's risky, and that's really a great number. One second, sorry. And 20% nearly feels that basically there's a compliance challenge. Great, I'm so happy that everybody in the audience can resonate at least with one of them. So I'll start with our next section, which is basically one of the primary reasons we wanted to talk more about today is what are the solutions for the same. Uh, Quick check. Can you guys see the screen? And can you hear me fine? Thank you, Janil. Cool. So yes, so we talked about a lot of things from the contract management ecosystem, and that was one of the priority for today. So we will want to basically start with a quick walkthrough of what ZoopSign is, how ZoopSign can help basically a lot of customers to mitigate this risk of document management. After the tour is over, we would really want to come back and talk about the e-signing. I think there were a lot of questions about the legality and the compliance of the digital signature. There were questions about the technical implementation of it. I would love to take it in our next section, which is the extension of solution. But I would want it to hand over to Aryan to sort of give us a good 5 to 10 minutes of overview. Everybody, please remember we are always here to for a detailed demo. We do not want to get into demo today because the requirement might differ and there's no point of going through the entire dashboard and all the possible feature. So Aryan will be here to give us a quick glimpse of what are things that you can do on ZoopSign. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us if you want to get into more detail. Over to you, Aryan.
Thank you so much, Harsh. I'll take it from here. I'll just quickly share my screen so that you can have the look at our, platform. So just to confirm, you guys can hear me and you can see the screen.
Yes, Aryan.
Awesome. So hi guys, I'm Aryan. I'll be looking into this section where I'll be giving you a short tour of the product that we have at ZoopSign. So when you go to zoopsign.com, this is the page that you'll see. And to get started, just click on login, right? This will take you to the login page where you can also create an account if you do not have one, or you can just simply sign up through Google. So just like that, I am in the dashboard. So this is ZoopSign dashboard, right? Um, I'll go into the creation part of the document first because that's where everything starts, right? So we'll just go to Z Drive and we'll go to My Documents. This is a place where you can not only upload a document from your system, it could be a PDF, it could be a Word file, or even a presentation PPT file. You can also create one from here, right? So I'll just call it, let's say, a digital contract agreement, right? And this is a Word file. Okay, let's just call it digital contract. Now this is a Word file. So when I click on create, it opens up a new tab, and this is Microsoft Word, right? You do not have to, bear any additional costs. This comes with ZoopSign. This is an integrated feature of ZoopSign. So you can create MS Word files directly here. So I'll just write something, right? This is a sample agreement. Let's say I wrote this, right? And I make a template, I set it up, whatever it is. And I go back to my, ZoopSign, and it gets automatically saved, right? And now I have my, this thing here, I have my document here. Now, the next thing what you can do is, let's say you want to collaborate on that document, right? Many times you want to have your teams look over it. Maybe your legal team, you want to have them look over it, You can collaborate, you want to edit together. So you just click here, you click share document, and you enter the email ID of the person you want to collaborate with and give them the edit access. Once you give them edit access, you can collaborate in real time, like you would do, and you can all together go into the same file and you can edit it and make it great for your business needs. Now, let's say you have edited it, right? What else? Now you can negotiate on it, right? So that's a very important part of the flow, which Harsh has already covered, negotiation. So for that, when you click on share, you can give them the view access. And when you give them the view access, you can, let them have comments on the document. So you can collaborate in such a way that, you can have the negotiations, you can follow up with the comments. And once everything is done, now you can go to the next part, which is, the eSign part. So I'll go to the eSign tab, and here, very easily, you can go to the Send for eSign button. Here you'll see two types of methods. Harsh will go more detail into these methods and what they are and the legality of each of them. I'll not cover this in this demo, but I'll just choose digital eSign for now. And now you have multiple methods of uploading it. You can also upload it from your computer, or you can upload it from any of these file drives. I'll upload it from the Z drive because we just created a file here, right? So my file is digital contract, and when I select this, so as you can see, my file will shortly load up. And so this was the sample agreement that we wrote, right? And now I want to add the signers in this flow. So very easily, I can click on add recipient. And here I can add two types of people, right? So one are the signers who would be signing the document. And secondly, there are approvers. So you want to get approvals on this document first before it gets to the signers. So for the demo purpose, I'll just add an approver. Let's say I'll add Harsh as an approver. I'll add his email ID. Let's say, Harsh. And I click on add recipient. Now I will add a signer in this case, right? For example, let's say I want to sign this document. I'll quickly click on add me as a recipient, and my details are auto-filled. I can also add third person. Let's say I want to add Rijwal. So I can add their phone number, which will go to their email, their phone number, or I can add their email ID, right? So let me just quickly do that as well. So let's say I've added this. Now I click on save and proceed. So as you can see on the document, I have both the signs positioned. I can move it around as well. And I have them here as well. So I know that, okay, Harsh is the approver, Aryan and Rijwal are the two signers on this document. Now I can also change the signing order very easily, right? I can, if I want Rijwal to sign first, I can just move it on top. That is one of the ways you can do it. There are multiple other features. Due to limitation of time, I won't be able to go through all of them, but feel free to reach out to us and we can give you a detailed demonstration. I'll quickly let you have a look at the email tab we have here, where you can add CC, right? So let's say once the document is signed, whoever is in the CC, they will get the signed copy of the document. You can also customize the subject body. By default, this is the subject line which gets to the recipients, and you can also add a personal note. Hey, just anything. It can use these variables as well, to mention them. So that can be done as well. And you can also attach a file. Let's say you want to have them look at any other reference document. So attachment can also be done. So when I click on review and send, you can just have a quick overview of your, e-signing document, the preview of the email, which goes to the signer, and all the settings that you have set here, and who is the approver, who is the signer, everything, right? And once you go through it, you can just click on send invite. And now in the backend, this document has been sent to the signers via their email, right? So they will receive an email. Right now, Harsh will receive an email asking for approval. Once Harsh approves it, it will go to Rijwal and Arif. Now, due to limitation of time, I won't be able to show you the signer journey. We will cover that in depth on a demo call we can have. So you can feel free to have a demo call with us, and here you'll see the audit trail of the entire document journey, right? Um, Now I'll go into the doc track feature that we have. This is a very cool, very interesting feature that we have built, at ZoopSign, and this will help you a lot with your business teams, with your sales teams, who are in the business of proposals, sending proposals, sending decks, and what you want to do is you want to get insights into your clients, insights into your audience who are viewing the document, and you want to make sure your document is securely shared. So, right, security is one of the concerns, one of the higher concerns that we have. So, for example, if I go to start tracking, I can simply choose that same file that we had. If I click on continue, so I can personalize my settings. I have a bunch of settings here, such as I can have email authentication, I can allow downloading, I can have a password protection or a watermark. Once I am happy with these settings, I can just click on share. And once I click on share, I'll get this link, right? I can copy this link from here. And if I send this link to any person, I'll just show you quickly how it will work. I'll just open a new tab, and here I'll just show you. So let's say if I send this to any person, right, they just have to enter their name. Let's say I wrote Aryan, and when I click on continue, they can see that document, right? They can read through it, right? Let's say I've spent some seconds. Okay, I'm reading it. Done, right? So now if I go back to my file, if I click on digital contract, I can see that I have a visitor named Aryan who spent a total of 7 seconds, who was using it from their desktop, and it was a one-pager document, so he spent 7 seconds on that page. But if there was multiple pages, you would know that how much time they have spent on each of the pages. So it's a very powerful tool which gives you a lot of heavy insights into the documents that you are sharing, especially the contracts, the agreements, and also the proposals, the business proposals that you have, your business team or your sales team who are sharing it. So that's pretty much it. Those are the powerful features. Again, it was a very short demo. We will be taking more in-depth demo, one-to-one. We can have it reach out to us. Feel free to reach out to me. You can simply message us on the WhatsApp number which we contacted you, or you can drop us an email. Anything works, right? And you can also go to need help, and you can ask us. I'll be taking some questions here. So let me see if there are any questions for me.
Aryan, a few people have texted me personally. They have a
Okay.
few questions for you. The first question being,
Okay.
where do documents get signed on ZoopSign? Like the documents that are signed, where do they get stored?
A very good question, right? So where do they get stored? So they get stored in Z Drive. It's a storage solution that we have built, and all your signed documents are stored neatly in this folder called eSign, where you can access them, you can download them anytime. And not only here, the signed documents are also shared to you via email as soon as the signing is done, right? So once the signers have signed it, all the signers will receive the signed copy of the document on their email. So yeah, that I hope that answers the question. Anything else? Anyone has any other questions?
Yes. Yes, another person messaged me personally. They're asking how many documents can be created or stored on ZoopSign.
Right. So ZoopSign currently there is no limit as such to the number of documents that can be created or stored. However, there is a storage that we provide that is up to 10 GB of storage, which is sufficient to store a large amount of documents on ZoopSign. And if you reach that limit 10 GB, we are very happy to offer you extension and additional storage facility as well on ZoopSign. So it's a pretty robust system with a lot of storage capacity and secure storage for that matter.
I hope this answers everyone's questions.
Yes, awesome. Cool. So I'll hand it over back to Harsh. I think he'll be taking you guys into more of the detailed explanation of the things that we have at ZoopSign and the features that we have built.
Sure. Wonderful, Aryan. I think cannot appreciate it more. You have always been one of the key person for our customers and clients want to grow. I think just so that we ensure that we can answer a few of the questions, feel free to raise your hands using emojis or the chat. We can unmute you. You can ask the questions directly and we can answer them. After this, I will be going into some of the key questions that were raised in the starting, which were around, are these things legal? What is the legal boundaries of these things? Can I get and use these things for all type of document? What is the guarantee of security if I use ZoopSign, right? What are the places I can integrate ZoopSign with, right? So we'll go into all those questions, but if you have any particular question that you would want to take one-on-one, we are very happy to take it. I was going through the chat and I can see that Mansi, yeah. So Mansi, you have asked that how is ZoopSign better than DocuSign? I think first of all, thanks for the question, right? My point is that let's not compare in terms of is it better or not better. I think DocuSign definitely has a product, has its own great features. But ZoopSign have few advantages, and that Indian geography specific to India, right? I think at the international standard, people won't even know what is Aadhaar from that matter. The doc track feature that Aryan mentioned about was also very unique to ZoopSign and is very unique to ZoopSign. And lastly, I think we are creating this by considering Indian businesses in mind. So that means the scalability and affordability has been very much catered to the freelancers, individuals, small businesses, and enterprises that are operating in Indian ecosystem. So I think those are the reasons we sort of cater to more than 150 customers at ZoopSign. And yeah, we are growing. So I think definitely that helps. Feel free to get on a demo and we can answer more specific questions. Manindhar, I think, has asked me a question that if you can integrate Aadhaar-based eSign, it better for legal point. Correct, yeah, and that's exactly the point, right? So ZoopSign does allow Aadhaar eSign, and we'll go into that, and we'll also go into the very specific question of why Aadhaar eSign goes into the legal part very quickly as per the Indian ecosystem. You can also add other option. Yes, fair point. We do have it, so love it. Utkarsh, I see raise of your hands. I have asked you to unmute. Please unmute yourself and you will be able to do that. Yes, Utkarsh.
Um, Thank you so much, Harsh. Actually, what we wanted was we wanted to integrate the franchisees part, the institutes part. Like we are on the B2B business with the institutes, right? The franchisee part, the B2B part, and the educators part. I do not see any part like which we can design ki these are the package, these are the like documents for the institute, these are for the franchisees, and these are for the like educators. Like I wanted to differentiate that part. Yeah.
Fair. So, Utkarsh, I think if you're talking particular about the document and the creation of the document,
Mm-hmm.
we have something that we call the template repository that we are not covering in today's webinar, where you
Okay.
will have specific things for educators and franchisees.
Franchisees and institutes. Yeah.
Yes. What we are
Okay.
covering is, let's say you already have the document, one of your lawyer friend has created it. You can use ZoopSign to get it signed. But
Yeah,
we also
definitely
have,
we have the documents, but what we wanted was ki like suppose 10 institutes have signed that, and we wanted to like keep a package ki these are institutes that we have signed, that they have signed the document. So this particular drive can like actually save all the documents as well. No.
yes. So the
Okay.
storage that comes with ZoopSign is 10
Okay.
GB, which is
Okay.
very high. So it can
Okay.
store
Nice.
typically, to be very honest, a document of a size of 1 MB, you can do the
Ah,
mathematics,
definitely,
it will be
definitely,
millions.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
it will store it and it will be stored for a longer time. Just to add, we are also ISO compliant, right? So what does it mean?
Okay.
Like people keep saying ki ISO compliant is all.
Yeah, I get it.
All
Yeah.
it means is ISO certifying authority has ensured that our system is not vulnerable to attacks, and
Mm-hmm.
we have the
Okay.
bandwidth and the resources to continue for decades so that your document stays
Okay.
safe, right? Yeah, so I think
Okay, I get it.
there's the part, and
Okay.
obviously templates, as I said, we can definitely talk more, which is one of our feature in the
Okay.
demo. Thank
Yeah.
you, Utkarsh. Utkarsh, thank you. Great. Really helpful, guys. Loved the enthusiasm. So what I'm going to do is continue our discussions. We will go and dive, deep dive again into the legality of these e-signature. And once we do that, we are happy to take more questions around the ecosystem. Do let me know when you can see my screen.
It's visible, Harsh.
Perfect. I hope you guys can also hear me fine. Might be something up and down, but hopefully I'm audible.
Yes, Harsh, you are audible.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. So continuing our journey, of ZoopSign, we talked very specifically about e-signature, right? So e-signature, I'll go slightly technical here for a minute, and then we'll come into the business perspective of it. E-signature, by the virtue, is known as electronic signature, right? Electronic signature fundamentally means that there is a piece of document which is generally in a PDF format. We have associated some type of hashing mechanism on the document so that the document cannot be altered in future. I know I went slightly technical there, but I hope some of the people can resonate and they can read more about it. But saying the same thing in the very simple term, if a document has been e-signed and anybody tries to change even a single full stop in the document, the signature will be invalid. So you will see a big red mark when you open it into signature verifiers like Adobe, which says that the signature is invalid, document has been tampered with. So what fundamentally e-signature means is that the document has been encrypted safely and the document cannot be altered. Now, this technology has been around the globe for multiple years, right? I think it initiated in 1960s, but it came into the e-signature purview around 1980s when a lot of company, the global standard started it. But the Indian legislative system, the IT reform, the Ministry of Information Technology started allowing e-signature into Indian documents and contract in the year 2000. So it's already been strong 24 years when Indian government and Indian constitution has legalized the electronic signatures in India. Not only legal, I think a lot of things that we talked as the challenges are also solved by the e-signature, which is the higher efficiency. You could easily see that Aryan could send a document for signing in less than 5 minutes. I think the beauty is he could create and send it in less than 5 minutes. From a signer perspective, it can be signed within a minute. All you have to do is open the document, type the OTP like you do for, let's say, a delivery, and after that authentication, the document will be e-signature. Makes the entire process very, very fast. The certificates are legally binding, as we said, saves ample amount of cost, right? So if I go and calculate the cost of, let's say, something like a document of 10 pager that needs to be printed, signed, scanned, couriered, easily I'm talking about hundreds, if not thousands. The e-signature operates in less than 10 rupees, right? And I'm not saying 10 rupees per page, I'm talking about 10 rupees per document. So there's the bandwidth, you can get a document digitally signed. And has Utkarsh already asked the question, all of this can be simply stored on ZoopSign with 10 GB of free storage. Last and not the least, it supports the environment significantly. It helps you to ensure that papers are used where they are supposed to be, and wherever we can try to save paper, we should do that. Going into the details of a lot of things that people have asked multiple times, that what is Aadhaar e-signature, what is digital e-signature, what is document signer, why are these things different, what are the difference between these things, and how should we use all of them? This is a very important slide. I think this should be known by people who are operating a business, wanting to operate a business, or even signing a piece of document, right? Has one of you already pointed out very correctly that Aadhaar signature, which has been designed for Indians by the government of India, controlled by the Central Ministry of UIDAI, is the most legal mode of signing. In this, the end user has to enter their Aadhaar card and then they get an OTP to a mobile number linked with Aadhaar card. So because the verification is done by directly the Indian government, the Aadhaar signature is trusted to be the most authentic source of signature. in India. It is legalized from the IT Reform Act of 2000 and has been empowered by the IT Reform Act of 2004 from the legality perspective of it. Coming to digital signature. Digital signature is a second type of signature, which basically is available at multiple global players and also few international signing players, where you can authenticate using other modes. The other modes can be your mobile number, can be your email address, at times can be your face authentication and things like that. So what you have to understand is for e-signature, you have to authenticate. In the physical world, we authenticate with the handwriting, right? Every person tries to ensure that their signature is very, very unique. However, in digital medium, that authentication can vary. It can be mobile, email. Now, just because of authentication, you can understand why Aadhaar is more powerful, right? Because digital signature can be done by an individual who have access to your mobile, but Aadhaar signature can only be done by an individual who knows your Aadhaar number. They have access to the Aadhaar link of your mobile, and Aadhaar signature also triggers an email which is from the Indian government. So you can always go and challenge your signature. Again, just because the controlling authority is Government of India. However, that being said, digital signatures are also very widely used in India. And depending upon the complexity of the contract, you should choose your signature type wisely. If you are going into a B2B deal, personal advices are always either for Aadhaar signature or document signer. But if you're going for a comparatively smaller deal, smaller engagement, let's say 1 week engagement, 2 week engagement, you can go for digital e-signature. There is no black and white around this ecosystem. It's a very personal choice and very educated choice that people have to make. We coach and we consult a lot of businesses in types of what signature they should use. Feel free to book a demo with us and we can talk about this in detail. Lastly, document signer. Document signer is basically a signature type that is allocated only to businesses. Aadhaar signature and digital signature can be done by individual, right? I, Harsh Surana, have an Aadhaar card, so I can do Aadhaar signature. However, document signer can only be used by corporates and businesses. A corporate agency gets the document signer and they sort of use it for any type of corporate purpose. This purpose can be signing an invoice. It can be signing a particular claim form. It can be signing offer letters on company's behalf. I hope this makes it very, very clear for everybody. I'll just quickly go to chat and see if there are any questions. And feel free to put any question in terms of the signing types that you have. Okay, so I see a question from Ashutosh. Is Aadhaar eSign legal out of India? Ashutosh, uh, Prajwal and Ashutosh, I think just so that we are on the same page, it is not a black and white scenario, completely legal. Aadhaar card, by the virtue of it, is allocated to Indians, right? Now, these Indians can also stay outside India, right? What we call NRIs. So, if an NRI has to take a loan, take an insurance, or open a bank account or do any type of contracts in India, they can still use Aadhaar signature because the regulatory body is India. Okay, so if an NRI is using Aadhaar signature for a contract in India, it's 100% legal. Now, if a NRI is using Aadhaar eSign for a contract that is outside India, I will not say that it is not legal, but it will totally depend upon what type of country we are talking it. Because a lot of country has decided and defined what legal e-signature means. If Aadhaar e-signature goes and qualifies into the technological requirement, it can be legal. However, from the advisory perspective, contracts that are always based, I think somewhere in Bangalore or supply chain management, what they do is they get the international parties use digital signature and they personally use Aadhaar signature because they have kept the jurisdiction as India. So the jurisdiction is India, so you can comfortably use Aadhaar signature or document signer, and the other parties, which are non-Indian parties, can use digital signature. So a permutation and combination works. People need to define it for their businesses, but it's not a black and white scenario. I hope that answers some of the questions that you might have. Rachel, do we have any questions on this to you? Anything that people would like me to answer from the e-signing perspective?
No, actually, we have a few more questions, but I think we can cover that in the Q&A later.
Perfect. Sure. This is a dedicated place that we gave to talking about the legal concept of e-signature because people keep on asking whether is it legal, is it legal, is it legal? I think maybe that question is coming because it's so convenient. So people feel that that this is just convenience and not legal. So we have just mentioned few acts that has been passed by the Indian Constitution. Every individual can go and check this. You can take a picture, a screenshot if you want. We will share these resources. So as I said, the IT Act, which came in 2000, introduced the concept of e-signature. So it's already been more than 2 decades. We are talking about 2.5 decades when e-signature has been. Hi everyone. I think I just got off the internet because of some reason. Can you guys hear me fine now?
Yes, Harsh, can hear you.
Yes. Rachel, can you help me with till what point did you guys hear me when I was talking about the legality of?
You haven't started.
Okay. Did you guys see this slide particularly, or was
Yes,
I cut off before this?
yes, the slide was visible.
Thank you, Rachel. So, as I was saying, you can take a picture of this slide or you can refer to it. These are not things that we at ZoopSign are creating. These are the acts passed by the Indian Constitution. In 2000, e-signature was introduced in the Indian Constitution. In 2002, it was clarified across multiple questions that were raised on the introduction. 2008 is basically when a lot of government bodies were created to talk about how they can implement, and 2006 is basically when it was sort of accelerated. Now if you see and open any broking account, right, whether it be in Zarodha, whether it be Grow, whether it be Angel Broking, whether it be ICICI Direct, you will see the process is 100% digital. Same is true for loan application, same is true for insurance application, same is true for bank account opening. So from 2016, there has been a very hard push to start using the e-signatures in day-to-day work, day-to-day ecosystem. And the last reform or amendment that came was in 2022, which is 2 years ago. That means the government has been actively thinking about it and updating the reform for the betterment. And in 2022, they said that even the real estate documents and the property agreement can be electronically signed. We are not talking about the registration of a new property. We are talking about the tenant agreements here. The registration of new property is still in the purview of stamp duty and government of India. That's a totally separate process. You cannot use e-signature for registration of property, but all the other paperwork that are related to real estate can use the electronic signature in India. From the reform perspective, they encourage people to use Aadhaar signature, but as I said, you can talk to a legal agency for more details. Yes, thank you for the clarification. Agreement of sales, Praveen, can be signed using e-signature in real estate. 4 documents that cannot be signed using e-signatures. I think these are the documents we hear very, very rarely, but it should be known. Non-negotiable instrument pertaining to transaction between individuals. These are very different type of instruments. These are financial instruments. I will not get into detail, but these have things like demand drafts, checks, and things like that, right? So something that are used for a financial transaction by the perspective of that instrument. Power of attorney between individuals. So at times we hear that, I own a property, but I can pass the power of attorney to somebody else. I own a company, can pass the power of attorney to somebody else. Those type of document cannot be electronical signed. Trust deeds cannot be electronically signed, and wills cannot be electronical signed. These are very unique set of documents, very rarely used in day-to-day activities, and they cannot be electronically signed. Apart from these, any piece of document and contract, either it be offer letter, SLA, agreement of sales, invoices, claims, purchase orders, offer letters, multiple things, right? Asset disposable form, and I can think of 10 different things more. All of them can be electronically signed and is approved by the government of India. I'll take a small pause in case anybody has a particular question. Otherwise, we can just wrap up with a poll and move to individual Q&A.
Freelancer, and how can this benefit her?
Sorry, Rachel, can you repeat?
Meghal asked me personally that she's a freelancer and she wants to know how this can benefit her.
Rachel, so sorry. Can you message maybe
Yes, I'll message.
on the chat? Hi, Ritual. So sorry. I think today is not the best of the days. I'm not sure what is happening to my internet. I'm a freelancer. Can this benefit me? Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Yes, it can. So as a freelancer, I think there is a tendency of people to not sign a document at the first place. At ZoopSign, we are catering to more than 10 freelancers or individual contractors or consultants who are using ZoopSign for any type of document, right? So let's say even if there's a small agreement that has happened for content writing, for digital marketing, for photography, people are using ZoopSign because once a person signs a piece of document digitally, they know that by the law they have to fulfill their side of the story, right? So uh, any document that a freelancer feels that they should be signed, they should use it. My personal advice is talking to us or any particular agency who can talk about law agency who should tell a freelancer that what are the important documents they should have. SLA, which is a service level agreement, should definitely be used by a freelancer when they go to any new client. And vendor agreement should also be used by all the freelancers if they have additional team who is helping them to do the work. Signing an agreement doesn't mean that you will go to court. It simply means that the other party has promised you something. And if they don't fulfill their part of the promise, there is penalties that can be imposed, right? So don't think of it ki if contract is not signed or what will change. If I have to put it true, I have to go to court. No, I think those are very extreme steps. It's simply a promise made and a promise fulfilled is how you should think of a contract as a freelancer.
Harsh,
Okay.
we have another question in the chat box.
Mhm.
Geeta is asking, how can we stay updated on the legal aspects of digital contracts and eSign?
I think Meeta, to be very honest, we as ZoopSign are always there for you to inform you about any regulatory changes. How can you can totally sort of follow Ministry of IT who keeps talking about the reform changes that they make. You can follow them on Twitter or LinkedIn and you will be always updated. I hope that answers the question. Aziz, how can my confidential contact be safe in ZoopSign? Aziz, very, very nice question. Thank you for asking, right? So as I was telling earlier, we are already ISO certified and we are in the process of SOC 2 certification. What particularly it means, right? What does it mean for people like you who are using ZoopSign? It means that we have been regulated and audited by the authorities to ensure that the private and confidential data is not exposed to the internal team members, cannot be accessed by anybody who is not authorized. Plus, we will have an entire activity log around the document that will be used for you. And as Aziz has something that I already mentioned, right? It's a product by Zoop.one, which is already working with the giants and mammoths. And my humble uh, request will be like, if PhonePe can trust us with the data, please be very rest assured that you can trust us. Is a stamped and scanned document signed using Aadhaar sign legally valid? So, yes, but when you say stamped, are you talking about e-stamp? If the answer is yes or a notary, it is valid because when you scan a document, you particularly make it digital, and particularly a digital piece of document can be signed using Aadhaar sign. So you don't need to create the document digitally. You can create it physically, or there can be a physical copy that you scan and sign it. However, if you have procured the e-stamp in the physical format, or basically if you have procured the stamp paper in the physical format, as per the government regulation, you have to ensure to keep that stamp paper in your repository. We will definitely have one of the following sessions on the e-stamping. So Indian government has, along with eSign, also launched digital stamp papers. And if you go ahead and use it, you don't need to even procure stamp papers like you might be doing today. I hope that answers your question, Raj. Great. Uh, Perfect. I think I can continue, right, Rijwal? We are good to go.
Harsh, we have a poll right now.
Okay, sure. Let's do that.
Yes.
Those who've not put in their vote, please do. I think we'll end the poll now. Okay, Harsh, we can continue now.
Thank you. Screen visible, audio working fine.
Yes, Harsh.
Thank you. So, with this, I think we are near the end of our today's webinar, right? Now I will be quickly talking about few of the use cases that we empower as ZoopSign, right? As you mentioned earlier, you can reach out to us via emails or WhatsApp messages that you have got, or just go to simply zoopsign.com, click on need help, and we'll be there to help you. Talking very quickly about some of the use cases that we can cater to and we are catering to and helping the business go digital. B2B manufacturing. What we have heard into a B2B manufacturing supply demand ecosystem, that they have to sign a lot of contracts across departments for approval, across locations for approval, across vendors for approval. And these vendors may not always be, willing to sign. These decision makers may not be always at their decks. They might be going out, they might be traveling, they might be on the rounds. So they can definitely use e-signature. But they were saying that, even my vendors do not understand technology so much. They don't understand that they have to enter their Aadhaar card and things like that because of the way we operate. That's when we developed WhatsApp e-signature. Now, using WhatsApp e-signature, an individual can sign using WhatsApp. They don't need emails, they don't need access to anything else. I think everybody in India is empowered by WhatsApp. You can simply use WhatsApp as a medium to get your agreement signed. I think with this, we really have few very happy B2B manufacturing customers with us. Online learning platforms. So online learning platforms typically want the students to have consent. With a lot of things that is going into edutech, the regulators are very stringent about getting such things signed. So the regulators have came to these agencies and told them that, you have to get a sign from the students across what they can expect from the course, what they should not expect from the course, the student is exactly aware about the refund policy, so on and so forth. With this, a lot of online medium, you will see, have started taking what we call consent ecosystem, right? And that's when basically a lot of B2B companies are engaging with us. They are making our solution as a part of their ecosystem. What does it mean? They do not even need to use ZoopSign dashboard for getting the signature done. We also have a variety of solution of integration. So in the B2B platform journey only, they can sort of go sign the piece of document and end the journey. So end user will just feel that they've always been on the B2B platform, let's say like an academy and so on and so forth via API integration. For startup registration and for tender government, is eSign legally valid? Mansi, I just saw your question. The answer is yes, but unfortunately, the regulators who sort of approves these registrations or these tenders make a choice to tell people that, do a physical signature because the process ends up at their office. Even a lot of government agencies are not going digital today. From a legal standpoint, it is valid, but as an agency, you have to accept it. Think of it that you are a business owner. Can you get your offer letter signed by digital mode? Answer is yes. Will you get it signed by digital mode? I think choice lies on your hand. Indian government is pushing it, and maybe it is a matter of few years where most of the Indian processes and tenders will also go digital. Uh, so yeah, hopefully you will see the left side of the spectrum very soon getting filled. But from the legal perspective, yes, it is in the legal purview to sign a tender via digital signature. Continuing our discussion, real estate agencies. Don't get me started on them. So basically, when we talk to a real estate agent or a broker, they say, sir, the number of pages that our end user has to sign are more than 80 at times. They read few important clause, they read few important things, but rest 40 pages are generally standard. People are free to read it, but we want to get them signed on the office premises, because if they don't do, they might forget about it. And we have to continuously sort of track it. Second, real estate agencies are not best when it comes to structuring and storing those contracts, right? And they are very, very sensitive contracts. So using our feature of getting the signature on every single page, you can sort of get all of them signed very, very quickly. We have been helping at least 15 real estate agencies after 2022 when the government changed the regulation, and they are very happy with whatever they are seeing as the outcome of going digital in that ecosystem. Also, we just wanted to highlight, we have not covered in this session, that ZoopSign also enables a lot of AI/ML tool where you can talk to the documents, you can summarize the documents, and you can extract information. Why are this? Many customers are using this solution to understand the contract in a layman term. So you can simply upload a complicated contract and you can ask specific contract legal firm. I think I personally cannot thank enough to the legal firms that are associated with ZoopSign. They have not only become our customers, but they have also become the voice for ZoopSign. When they use ZoopSign and when they go out in the market, they sort of bring additional awareness to multiple firms about digitalization, because they're already aware about all the regulations that is happening. They are one of the first adopter, and I think from a role perspective, they are mostly responsible to get things signed, right? So they love it. They use very specifically ZoopSign features, which we call expiry and auto reminder. So you can enable a auto reminder, and the end customer will keep getting the reminder again and again until they sign the document or reject the document. And you can also set an expiry. So if the document is not signed, let's say within next 3 days, it will not be able to sign. So they are using those advanced features very effectively to ensure that they can get the contract signed quickly and faster. Lastly, I think every business and any business can enable their internal contract management and documents and policies via ZoopSign. And this is where a biggest chunk of our user base lies, which is more than 60. They are using it for offer letters, exit letters, asset letters, internal paperwork, appreciation form, invoices, feedbacks, and whatnot. Sales team is using it to close the agreements with the client. They are using it to track the proposal status and multiple things, right? We have touched all of these at a high level because we feel that an individual might be able to resonate with one or multiple. We believe that a quick 15 to 20 minutes call with us will not hurt you, and we might be able to sort of help you more in terms of the next steps that you can do to digitalize your journey of ZoopSign. Now, I have already covered a lot of it, so I will not go into the mm, next steps. Rijal, passing it to you to sort of talk about some of the features or some of the things the that our participants can avail because they been patient enough to be with us for this webinar.
Yes, thank you so much, Harsh. To begin with, this webinar was quite helpful, and I would hope that the participants also found this equally helpful. As promised, we are very excited to offer you a few freebies, which you will get in the next 2 to 3 days. Of course, you will get a recording of this meeting, and along with that, you will get some additional resources. And as promised, about an exciting offer, since we saw such a huge response and we are conducting this webinar in batches, we are excited to offer you a flat 10% off on our ZoopSign plan, which is exclusively valid till the end of this month. So you guys can get in touch with us to know more about it. And yeah, thanks again. We will answer a few questions that were Actually, yeah. Oh, Harsh is being generous. So we'll be offering a 60% off, and it's a lifetime plan. So it's just a one time. You just have to pay for one time, and it'll be valid for your entire life. So yeah, we will answer a few questions that were asked at the start of this webinar. Zankhana had asked, is this sign valid for Startup India registration for filling up government tenders? Harsh, would you like to answer this?
Hi, Rajal. So I think already covered it slightly. So from a legal standpoint, yes, it is legal for government tenders and startup registration to use the e-signature. However, it depends upon the regulator who is sort of, sitting on the other side of the table to adopt this as a feature for a multiple registration, right? Think of it this way that you are a owner of a company. You can decide to give offer letter and get e-signatures on that, or you can just decide to give the physical copy to the new person joining in your company. So it's a company's decision whether they want to save money, time, resources, and digitalize the process. But from the legal part, yes, it is allowed for them to go digital.
Okay. And the next question is by Ashish. He's asking, are the technical problems that were a headache to you guys in this journey and how you solved them eventually?
Thanks a lot, Ashish. I think there's a lot of things that are going inside the ecosystem to offer a solution like this. At the end of the day, our priority has always been that the migration from whatever process you are currently using, that can be email, download, sign, scan, or physical paperwork, should be seamless, right? So, from a technological perspective, ensuring that there's a technical integration with the regulated authority, it feels very, very real time. You would have seen that when we are tracking a document is very secure and very, very real time. So all these things, I think, have been a very big tech challenges, but we come with a lot of expertise, and I can't thank enough the team that is building this amazing product for the Indian ecosystem, right? To overcome them, I think it was simply trying to be one of the early adopters of a lot of technology, early adopter of a lot of integrations between technology, and yeah, moving forward from that perspective. Happy to answer any particular
Same
question, but I
question,
hope
Harsh.
from
Utkarsh
a
is
high level.
asking that he needs e-sign in B2B, B2C, and corporate. And does he have to purchase ZoopSign for all of these functionalities? And if not, will all the three functionalities have a separate Z drive?
Yeah, so Utkarsh, you can purchase one Zoop sign if all of the three are maintained in the same ecosystem, right? In Z Drive, you can make multiple folders to take care of it. We can work with the team if you want any separate virtual differences. It also depends upon the number of users and so on and so forth. But to answer your question, it can be separated in Z Drive and you can use a single system. How and whereabout of it, I think we are happy to connect, I think in a demo call, or I think the next call, whatever works for you. Thank you, Utkarsh. Really helpful.
Yeah, the next questions, I think they were covered in the webinar earlier. So I think we are covered, Harsh. Thank you so much. It was quite an insightful webinar. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. I really hope that you found this session helpful. Thanks again and hope to see you all next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, Arjun. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good rest of your week.
Have a good week, everyone. Thank you.
Sorry, and weekend also.
Weekend. Yeah. You all can
You,
carry on with
Rachel, you can
original.
go all the parties that you want now. Thank you for this.
Yes, sure.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thank you.